that important in your life. Like,
I find it hard to think of them happy together.
He was clearly struggling with something internally.
I never had the sort of dad figure.
I don't think I coped for a long time. My name is McDonagh and I'm 26.
My name is Jessica Drew. I'm 20 years old.
my name's DkIT. I'm 19 years old.
I'm Christie and I'm 20 years old.
My name is Rachel Barrett and I am 21 years old.
My mum got pregnant when she was 20 and she was very young at the time. They decided to split before I was born. They had talked about marriage and stuff, but they were going to go into it for the wrong reasons.
And when I was 15, my mum was killed in a single car collision.
My mum died 13 years ago of lung cancer.
My parents are divorced. For as long as I can remember, like since I was a child, my parents have been fighting.
When I was 15 years old, my dad took his own life. I'm not going to say that things were perfect before it, but it still was a really big shock, as I'm sure it is always in those situations. It just was really sudden.
I don't think I coped for the first couple of years because there was so much else happening. 4 days before we actually found out about my mum's diagnosis, my best friend died as well. So I don't think I coped for a long time.
One Christmas, my dad came home and they sat us down and they just told us, you know, it's not going to work out, we're getting a divorce. And I think I was the most emotional about it out of all my siblings because I was really close to my mom and my dad both. So it really upset me, I think, the most and really took a toll on me personally. I kind of fell into a bit of a depression.
The day it happened, I was actually in school and I was after twisting my ankle. We spent the whole day with each other in the hospital, so I think I'm kind of lucky that I had that day before it happened. My mum has told me since then that back then even she knew he was really struggling at that point. She didn't realise how bad it was, but she knew that he was struggling, and my memory of that day and then what later actually happened is completely contrasting because he was just in such a good mood. He was joking with me, making sure I was okay and happy, and I'm glad I have that day kind of.
I just went and did my exams. I just stayed awake for about 2 days straight, and yeah, I just said no, I'll go and do the exam, so it just kind of went back to normal very quickly. At the same time not, because nobody knew what to do with me.
I have not seen my father ever, which is quite a weird concept to a lot of people because they see it as like, oh well, you have a dad and he's out there, but like, why don't you go talk to him? But I just never met him, and I don't think I'm not sure, but I don't think I ever will.
My dad usually comes home at Christmas, and he did even after that Christmas. That was a horrible Christmas because all of us barely spoke to each other, so it was a bit awkward. But the following years after that, it was just massive fights and screaming, and like I kind of grew to hate that time of year.
Mum was really into Christmas, she loved it. She always had the tree perfectly, doing the squint test, everything had to be symmetrical, and to be honest, I've never done a Christmas tree because of that. So it's just, no thank you, you know. I won't get it right, you know.
Christmas Eve was kind of mine and my mum's day. Yeah, Christmas is especially hard.
No Christmas has been the same since then. Like the first year we tried really hard to make it not just as good, but tried hard to not see the differences. Like obviously my dad wasn't there, so there was a huge difference. It used to be such a good thing for us. Like we were always so happy about it, getting up really early in the morning, taking photos of us opening our presents, and it was probably my favourite time of year, and it just went from that to being one of my least favourite.
It's affected me big time. I think as well because it happened at such a crucial age for me. Like we found out in January that she was sick, and then she died in May, so it was a really short time period that she was actually sick. And right dead centre in that time was my birthday, so I was 12, just turned 13. So I'd just become a teenager. And like you're a girl, you need your mom of all people kind of around when you turn a teenager. So since then I've kind of struggled big time.
I don't think it's been a case of coping because it's different. I think if I had a dad and, you know, I was like 7 or 8 and then they got divorced, you would have to cope because it would be a big change. Whereas for me, I never had the sort of dad figure. So it's been more of a case of just living a different life to other people. You don't have that extra person to sort of rely on, or like my mum is probably the one that's had to deal with the most because she's had to do everything by herself. So, but for me, it hasn't been too bad, I don't think.
Because I'm a lot more independent, because I kind of learned to not rely on people.
If anything, I just think it made me a stronger person. I don't really take many things for granted anymore. I mean, as I said, it's kind of been something that has been boiling under the surface since I was a child. Like, I find it hard to think of them happy together because I don't think I ever really saw that.
I have really low confidence. Maybe I was always going to have low confidence, but I kind of feel like before it I still am a bubbly enough person now, but it's a lot harder for me to just be the happy person I want to be. And when I'm in new situations, I find it really hard, especially if there's a lot of people, I find it hard to talk to them and to actually bring out my personality at first. In my head, it's because of what happened. Like at the time it happened, I know I was 15 and it was kind of a crucial part in my development and everything, and I think it kind of just put me on pause, and I didn't really know how to show people who I was after it.
For some reason, one time I had a dream that in my head they'd faked the whole thing because some band had done it, even though they never did, and I just like, now things can go back to normal. That was like a year and a half down the line though, and I woke up thinking, oh, things are back to normal, and it wasn't. So
she was probably like one of the strongest women I've ever known in my entire life.
My mum always brought me up to be really like mannerly and stuff like that. Whereas I feel like if I had a dad, he'd be saying things like, oh, just go out and fight the others and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know if that's true.
He was such a kind person. Like he just saw beauty in the simplest of things. I remember one day that I was just sitting inside and I was trying to do my homework, and he should have really left me to do my homework because like he's the parent. But he ran into the kitchen and was like, Lauren, you've got to come see this. It's amazing. You have to come see this. And he went running outside, and then I went after him. It was a spider's cobweb. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why was this so important? He goes, but look how pretty it is, Lauren. Like, just acknowledge how amazing this is. And it's a really weird thing. And I don't know if that's like a normal thing to, like for your dad to do, to interrupt your homework to show you a spider's web. But it reminds me every so often to just stop and try and see the good things that are so simple.
People pity you because they see it as like a disadvantage when it doesn't have to be. Like it can be financially and sort of emotionally, I suppose, at times, but people do sort of just view you as like, oh, you've only got a mum. And it can be awkward at times.
people who try to be like tiptoe around stuff, and like I'm not that kind of person. I'm dark as humour. I say things as it is. So they'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go to somewhere with my parents. I'm like, you going with your mum? Yeah. I was like, get over it.
I would prefer if people asked questions, because I think when people gloss over the fact that there's nobody there, it's making it more of an awkward situation and makes it uncomfortable for them as well, because they're trying to guess. They're probably thinking, oh, we ran away, or he doesn't care, but like, I'm sure he does care. But yeah, I prefer if they just asked. If they want to know something, just ask and I'll answer honestly. And it's not something to be ashamed of.
I want to thank her, because she was the one who made me me.
I'm starting to understand that it's what you had to do, and I hope you feel better now.
I don't know, just I miss you, or come home.